Okay, this is a scenario where the three Axis countries come back. I mean, well, they're already still here, but they allied again and are aggressive and fascist again. So, yeah. Germany, Italy, and Japan were the three main ones, so they're all back to being evil for some reason. All the major alliances like NATO and the UN are dissolved because that would be boring. And yeah. So they're going to start in Europe, where Germany and Italy are going to join forces to go after Austria. Austria's pretty weak, and there's a lot of German people there, so seems like a good idea. So, pretty quickly go over here. They don't really go over here because it's more mountainous, but eventually they capture Vienna, and then the entire country just kind of falls and capitulates over. The peace treaty, even though the two countries did just about the same amount of work, Germany is going to get a lot more land because Austria is more German than Italian by a lot. So it'll be like this. Next, they're going to go after Slovenia. Yeah. And while they're at it, they decide that they might as well go after Croatia too. So they go ahead and just roll through these countries pretty easily. They take Slovenia like very quickly, and then this little peninsula, and then cut Croatia in two, take all of Dalmatia, and then just kind of push them in. After this peace treaty, Italy is still going to get a lot of land, and the new border will look like this. This main part of Croatia will be created into a new government, and which is pro-Axis and joins it. And now they've gone pretty easily here, but some countries are now going to start to, not want this, so an alliance forms in opposition to this, mostly out of threatened countries, especially over here in the east. But we also see a couple over here, such as the Benelux nations. France doesn't join in, but they consider it. So does the UK. But still. So, moving away from that, over here in Japan, there's not that many places they can go to, but they're going to go after South Korea. North Korea sees this as a good opportunity, and I guess it'll be green, join in on the war too. So Japan starts making naval invasions. They first of all capture this island, from there send out more to go over here. Pretty sure Seoul is around there. I don't know how you pronounce it. North Korea also starts spilling in, and eventually the entire thing is cut like that. And for the peace treaty, I'm gonna see North Korea gets a decent amount of land, and right about here. And then the rest of this is now going to be Japanese. There's not that many more places that Japan can go to, but there's really only North Korea, because obviously they can't beat Russia or China. The Philippines are pretty far away. If they went after Taiwan, then China would probably say that since Taiwan is part of them in their eyes, then that's invading them, so they can't really do that. Now, moving over here, Italy goes after San Marino and Vatican City, and yeah. Yeah, and the next thing they're going to do is launch a surprise attack over here in Tunisia. So this country is pretty weak, and these guys have been getting a lot stronger and, focusing more on their military. So pretty quickly they take all the coastline, and then they start going after Libya too and pushing into its border, making another landing here, capturing Malta, and from there landing here. Take all this land, which I believe includes Tripoli, and then all of the rest of the coast. And from there it's pretty easy. They just kind of walk forward a little bit more until it sort of becomes completely desert. And that's probably right about here. So yeah, these countries are essentially just open desert now, and there's really no one left, so they just capitulate automatically. Tunisia and Malta will be fully annexed by Italy, and they're also going to get a good amount of this land in Libya. This. What remains of Libya is also going to be turned into a new Axis country, but I don't think it's going to be helping much since it's practically just Sahara Desert. I don't even know where the capital would be. I guess up here. But yeah. The Yellow Alliance is now going to grow a little bit with Egypt joining in, because they're right on the border. Egypt might be the new strongest country in it. I'm not sure if Poland's stronger. I think it's probably pretty close. But still, that's a good gain for the yellow team. They don't really know where to go next, so they just decided to go for Liechtenstein. And, yeah. And so now they go after Denmark. So if we just color that in, German troops will move up pretty quickly into Jutland, landing on these islands and taking Copenhagen. And from there, Denmark falls over and is completely annexed by the Germans. Like this. Yeah. The Yellow Alliance, they're seeing that Italian troops are boats are, increasing a lot, especially in the sort of triangle. So a lot of these countries feel pretty threatened. So a lot of them join in on this alliance, despite some of them not liking each other, I don't think. So, like this. So the Yellow Alliance has gotten pretty big. I'm not sure how Kosovo and Serbia being in the alliance together would work, but I guess it does. But yeah, because of that, the Yellow Alliance is getting kind of unstable, even though it's just an alliance, because most of these countries really hate having to cooperate with each other. So, yeah. Moving back over to Japan, they're going to do the pretty much only two countries that are even feasible to go after, which are North Korea, and then will be the Philippines. So North Korea is, I don't think they're really that strong. They just have nukes, but probably aren't that well designed. So even with that, they're still going to crumble over really, really quick. We're actually going to see China join in on another side to roll through the northern part of North Korea. And it's not because China and North Korea are enemies right now, but it's just that they want to secure and keep as much of this land for themselves, because they, I'm sure the North Korean government would rather be part of China than Japan. So yeah, the peace treaty will be pretty simple. Just moving the border up here, giving this to China. China didn't really even get that much land, but still was decent. Like this. Next is the Philippines. And so, they go ahead and do all of this. Nope. So yeah, the Japanese troops start, going on ships and being sent over to the Philippines, make a big landing on the northern island as well as on some of these down here. They then move through this southern part, go up and connect the two front lines, and take the entire country over. It's going to be kind of hard to show the border here, but Japan gets some of the islands and some of them are turned into a new Axis state. I guess I'll just draw a white line, or maybe black. The border's probably like right about here. That went through a lot of islands, hold on. So yeah. And now, pretty surprisingly, and not good for the Axis, China is going to go ahead and declare war on Japan. And now, obviously, that's not good, because China is easily stronger than the three of them combined. But, I mean, at this point, it might not even be easily, but China is still definitely stronger than the rest of the Axis combined. Or all of the Axis combined, I mean. So, yeah. China starts sending their troops that relied on this border into Korea, and it falls, like, immediately, within weeks. They then completely invade Taiwan and I think that's Hong Kong, might be Macau, not sure, but either way they take both of those, start going after the newly claimed Philippines. So while China is distracted with doing that, Japan obviously knows that this isn't gonna, go over them if they don't get anything else to happen. So they have some sort of a plan. They send over guys over here into Tibet, try and get them to rebel, and that does work. And they say that they're going to give them a lot of supplies, but on that one condition, that they have to join the Axis afterwards. So Tibet reluctantly agrees to this, especially since, they don't really know that it's the same Axis from World War II, and they join in. And this kind of sparks a wave of rebellion, as we see some Manchurian people over here rise up. There was some people in Xinjiang, and now they do the same, and they, told the same thing to these guys, as well as to Mongolia. And I'm sure Mongolia is going to turn the tide of this war completely. So China just suddenly got all three of these, well, technically four countries' rebellions happening, so that's not great. They go ahead and pull out the Philippines with Taiwan. Taiwan is invaded by Japan, so I guess that didn't really... So Taiwan just could not win in this, including, and that also Hong Kong. They start making landings down here in the south, as well as a couple in this area. I think Shanghai is down here. But anyway, these Manchuria, not everyone in Manchuria really even wants to do this. There's really not that much resistance, and trying to start pushing them back. Same sort of thing with Xinjiang, and they get kind of tucked away into this corner. Tibet has a little more success just because of how mountainous they are. So after getting these people to join in, I'm sure there's 5 people that live there, but still, they start pushing a little bit into China. But China is very easily able to send out a massive spear thing into Mongolia, going over here and taking Ulaanbaatar, I think that's what it's called, and then circling, taking all this, and I mean, Mongolia is literally just fields, so they take that pretty easily. This entire section follows, including Manchuria, and then they start pushing back Xinjiang and Mongolia until the two of them are basically gone. Japan manages to reclaim Korea, but they aren't able to push into China anymore, and this one thing is repelled, and this one goes into a stalemate. So it's still not looking good, but Japan tries the one thing that they have left, and they ask India to join in on the war, and India only joins because they see this as a sign that could go well, Plus, they also say that Japan has to pay them afterwards, and they don't have to join the Axis. So, yeah. But still, even with all that, India does manage to really, make a huge effect in this war. Push off of these, I think it's like the Seven Sisters or something. And they start going across China over there. They also kind of try to meet up with Xinjiang. I don't really know why, but yeah. Mongolia is completely destroyed, as well as Xinjiang, so I guess this was pointless, them going up there. But yeah. With this pretty big distraction, Japan now manages to break through the Chinese front lines over here. They start getting pretty close to Beijing. They also take a lot of Manchuria. Meeting up with Mongolia and cutting some of it off. And going into Mongolia a little bit. From the Philippines, they capture this island and go around here. And start rolling through the southern area, which is probably fairly important. They also managed to meet up with India, which knocks out this pretty huge region. They fully take back this, start going through Mongolia, only to go deeper into China, almost cutting this off and eventually doing so, and now taking all of that. Mongolia just kind of exists again because all the troops evacuate and make a tiny little push into China. And by now the entire Chinese communist thing has completely broken up and the country's in chaos. There's a lot of people who are rebelling, trying to overthrow the government and bring back the old China that was in Taiwan. That's in Taiwan now, I guess. So really the entire country has just kind of collapsed. It's practically just a bunch of militias fighting each other very chaotically. But eventually Beijing is captured, as well as Shanghai. This entire thing falls. And eventually there's a grand total of 2 people here, so it dies. And now that was a pretty big war, so we have to... A peace treaty might take some time, but it's okay. So unsurprisingly, Japan is going to get a ton of land up here, including Beijing and Shanghai, all the way down here. We also get Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, as well as this island. Mongolia is going to get some land too, mostly in Inner Mongolia. I know that Inner Mongolia being part of Mongolia probably wouldn't go well because there's so many Chinese people there that it would become the new majority in Mongolia, but we're going to ignore that. So, Mongolia now manages to take all of this. Then Xinjiang is also going to be independent now, looking like this, and being forced into the Axis. Tibet is going to be independent, but they're going to be kind of smaller than they wanted. I mean, it still isn't really that small, but keep in mind that all of this is just mountains, so that's not great. I don't even know about up here, up in the northern part. I'm not sure. India is going to get all of their Kashmir parts in here. And now it's probably going to look terrible, but they also do get 2 pockets of land. One up here by Kashmir, and one down here by the Seven Sisters. I really hope I'm not making that up, because that sounds really stupid. I feel like this is called the Seven Sisters, I think. And I'm doubting myself. But yeah. So there we go. Yeah, that does look terrible. But we're going to say that India then decides to invade Bangladesh. And now Bangladesh is part of India. And then they unite with Nepal and Bhutan for some reason. It's just for the border to look slightly better over here, but it's whatever. So yeah, Japan now has to pay a huge amount of money to India, and they don't even have to join the Axis, so there's that. Tibet also isn't required to join the Axis, so that doesn't really matter. The rest of China over here is going to be split in two. This pretty big chunk over here is going to be the new China. That's like, in Taiwan and all that. So it's kind of like the original China, I guess. They aren't forced into the Axis, but yeah. And then the original Communist Party of China is going to be forced over here, where there's like literally nothing. So, yeah. China is very weak now. But that's fine. Seeing all this happen with Japan, the yellow team decides that they're gonna begin to invade Italy and Germany because they don't want this to happen to them. And they also do manage to get France to join in. So, with that, Italy and Germany have war declared on them by the entire yellow team, who also, well, not the yellow team, but Italy and Germany are also getting support from Japan. They can't really give them much, though, because, they lost a lot of money in this war, especially to India. And they really had to bribe India to join in, but it did work. And so, even with that support, though, like I said, there's not that much. The blue team quickly pushes in and almost immediately captures Berlin, so that's not great. They quickly roll through these recently claimed areas down here. Surprisingly, the one area that Axis does really well in is in France. They pretty easily push through the southern part and take Corsica, as well as Monaco, because why not? Germany makes a small offensive over here and into the Benelux countries. They also make a naval invasion up over here into Poland. They start to push through Austria as well. And also down in Egypt. You see, Egypt does actually really well. They take, not Malta. They take most of the Libyan coast, as well as some into here. But over here, Italy and Germany managed to completely surround Switzerland, but that unites their front lines. They also knock out the Netherlands and almost get out Belgium. And France starts getting pushed back. And now, the only reason they're able to do this is because this is where they're focusing most of their troops. But over here, they're kind of getting destroyed by the rest of the blue team. This naval invasion is also repelled, but it does work as a pretty good distraction because Germany recaptures Berlin. Belgium falls over, and they start spilling into the northern part of France. The blue team now, but they launch a really big invasion over here into the heel of Italy. I mean, all the countries are just funneling a ton of their troops over here. And eventually they completely cut off Sicily. And then they start pushing up and take Rome. From there, they send out another invasion up here, linking up the front lines. In Italy, the entire Italian peninsula falls over, as well as Malta. I don't know why this is a different color. And then they take all this African coast. France, who's almost definitely the most powerful member, does actually end up falling over to the red team / Axis. But that's only because, they've lost a ton of their land over here. They barely are holding on to Berlin. I'm sure all the leaders are evacuated over to, somewhere over here. Where's Munich? I don't know. And, yeah. So with that, they start sending back their troops over here. They make a small counteroffensive and knock out some of these troops further back a little bit. Egypt manages to completely capture Libya, and they start sending their troops up here. So the red team was actually doing kind of decent as they liberated most of Germany and some of Italy. But now with Egypt's troops all funneling up here too, the blue team decides to make another really big invasion, this time going after Berlin. It's a very bloody battle, but eventually the blue team wins and takes Berlin. From there, they go up and take Copenhagen and Denmark They're met with very little resistance and start rolling through the northern part of Germany. And then cut the Axis in two and completely obliterate Italy. They send out a lot of their troops over here into France to help liberate it. They also meet up back here and do this. Now pushing Germany all the way back into France. So this land is quickly liberated, and eventually all the Axis over here is forced into Brittany. And finally it's wiped out. So that just leaves Japan, but even though it looks like it, Japan isn't officially in this war. They're just supplying the Axis. And now that the Axis is gone, it's not like they're going to join in or anything. So that war is actually going to end here. And so, in this peace treaty, we're going to see some things happen, surprisingly. I know. So, I actually erased some of the Sudan border, but sure. Egypt is going to get a very nice chunk of Libya over here. Libya is kind of returned back like this, and so is Tunisia. It's not what Tunisia looks like, it's like this kind of. Sure. Malta is made a thing again. Sardinia is given over to France, as well as Monaco, because no one really cares about them that much. Over here, we're just going to do this. We're going to see Croatia and Slovenia both come back. Slovenia is also going to get a decent amount bigger and take over some of Italy. France takes a lot of this area, you know, the Cash App states, if you remember. So Sicily once again evaded this war, so that's cool. Over here, we're going to completely erase the German border because it's going to get completely changed. All three Benelux countries and France are going to get a very nice amount of land, including I think this is like the Rhineland or something. So the new border looks like this. Austria is also released. They don't have their panhandle though. Liechtenstein is back. Hooray. We see this new country being formed. I'm not sure why, but it is there. It looks terrible, but it's fine. Up here in Germany, we're going to see Denmark be released and get all of Jutland. Poland is also going to kind of reverse Prussia over here in Germany and get all of this land. Czechia is also going to get a good chunk of Germany. And instead of having East and West Germany, there's going to be a North and South Germany. Like this. Italy isn't hit as hard. They obviously have a new government, and Malta's released and all that. Sicily maybe goes over to Tunisia, so Italy is just this now, but still. So yeah, that's gonna be about it. So the Axis kind of got defeated over here. Japan's the only one left standing, and they did do pretty good. But Germany and Italy did get pretty destroyed eventually. I mean, yeah, it's not even recognizable over here in, you know, this whole central area of Europe. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. So goodbye.